can hear it too. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey. Welcome, everybody. Podcast number 83. Jared, do you believe we've shot 83 podcasts all the way from Winnipeg here?
Wow. I know that.
Not bad, eh? Today we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of interesting topics. But, Jared, before we get started, I just want to get a shout-out to our sponsor. Synoptic Heating and Cooling is a family-owned and operated company here in Winnipeg. They can supply and install hot water tanks and heating and cooling and HVR systems in your current home. In a time where air quality is a big concern, you can trust the pros of Synoptic Heating and Cooling to make sure you and your family are not only warm in the winter and cool in the summer, but also breathing in fresh, clean air. It is their mission to make every Manitoban it has reliable and affordable home comfort solutions. Contact them, 204-894-6403. Gail and Ark, some of our best members. Speaking
What's
of...
the name again? Say the name of the company again.
Synoptic Heating and Cooling.
There you go.
You know, I like the fact that you're a radio guy because you can already appreciate the things that we're doing over here, right?
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us about the background that we're seeing right there? Proud 103. Where are you working?
Yes. I've been with this company, which is an Abanoff radio group. So for people that are in Winnipeg, our sister station out there is Energy 106 and Hot 103. I'm in Toronto. It's Hot 103, Hot 105? I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe 105.
I've heard you recently. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, in Winnipeg.
So we're the sister station to that. And here in Toronto, we have this building where I am right now, we have 4 radio stations. So Proud 103, Proud 103, 103.9 is one of them. And then we have Z103.5, Jewel 88.5, and AM 530. So I'm in charge of this station. So this is what we're calling it, kind of billing it as Canada's LGBTQ plus station. So the station's been around for about 12 years.
Okay.
And I just kind of took it over just in July. So it's been a part of my responsibility, part of my daily duties, but it wasn't my focus. So I didn't really have too much to do with it. But now it's kind of my baby. I'm totally responsible for everything. So this was the logo that we came up with. I had nothing to do with the design. I had some input, but the guys...
Looks great. Looks great. So let me ask you this. So what makes a station LGBTQ as opposed to a non-LGBTQ station? What are you doing differently over there?
Sure. Yeah. So everybody always thinks because it's a gay radio station, there has to be gay music. There's really no such thing as gay music.
Okay.
I think we all think of it's rain.
When the station first came out, it was very niche. So it was really focused on the LGBTQ plus community, which was fantastic. But now, because we're in Toronto and there's so much competition, there's a radio station. You just click the dial and you get another radio station here. When I took it over, I thought, well, what can we do differently and be more all-inclusive and just speak to everybody? Because when you speak to a niche audience, you're only speaking to one type of person. So, why would a straight person listen to a gay radio station? So,
right.
And radio is all about relatability. And with I've been in radio 100 years. It's always about relatability. It's always about talking about things that you did last night and what you're going to be doing in your life. So I thought we need to be reflective of everybody. I want everybody to listen. So we have to make the station friendly to everybody. And the reaction has been really fantastic. I was a little nervous there at first because the logo before was a rainbow logo. And I mean, as soon as we changed it, I had a call from a guy in Australia, and he said to me, I'm a gay guy for 47 years. He actually phoned the station and said that I want to say, congratulations for changing the logo. That is so great, because he says, I would never wear a rainbow logo, and I've been a gay man for 47 years. So I thought that was pretty funny for him to say that. So I knew, and I just wanted to kind of reflect the logo more to everybody, so everybody would wear it. Rick, you would wear it. Everybody would wear it.
Sure.
It's
fun.
And it's a party station. The music is all dance. So listen to Proud 103.9. You can listen online, Winnipeg people. Download our app, iTunes.
So that's how we would listen to it, through an app or through iTunes?
You can listen to online at proudfm.com. We're on TuneIn. We're at iHeart radio station, so we're on iHeart. Of course, on Google Home. We're on all that, Alexa, Echo. And in people in Ontario, they can listen on their TV at home on Bell 5 Channel 982. So lots of ways to listen. And it's a total dance station. You put it on, you're going to be ready to party. It's unbelievable.
Nice.
The music is kind of a reflection of my life. I like to always, I want to, especially now with the pandemic, we're getting almost a year. The station has been so well received with the changeover of music because it's always upbeat. It's always songs that you know. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So do you do the programming and you're also on air as well?
Yeah, so I'm not big into titles. So when they talked to me about this job, I was a little apprehensive at first because it was a big job. I mean, I've been a part of radio for a long time. In Winnipeg, I was responsible in the rebranding of Hot 103, if you remember that, which is Virgin now.
Yep,
And
I remember.
before, if you remember, Rick, it was Star 103, Winnipeg's only country. And,
I do remember.
Yeah, that was a funny story. I was in LA. I still remember this like yesterday. I was in LA. I was at my hotel room sitting outside by the pool, and my mom had called me and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was just like, "Well, I'm laying under a palm tree by the pool. What are you doing?" So she let me like, bug her and stuff like that. And she goes, "Oh, take a listen to this." And she put the radio on to the phone, and I'm like, she goes, "Oh, your station's not country anymore. It's now Hot 103.
Oh yeah.
What? Yeah, so it's a dance station. So yeah, so it's so I've been doing a lot of, so I had that experience of doing the refresh, and that's what they're calling it, was a refresh. So it's a whole rebrand. So I'm in charge of everything. So everything you hear on the air, every announcer, every promotion, every contest, all the social media, like completely everything I'm responsible. Yeah, and then I do the afternoon drive show. On top of everything else, I'm on the air from 2 to 7. So yeah, it's a lot. It's probably been the biggest challenge in my radio career. I think Rick, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, I told you, because with this station, because it's LGBTQ, it's with every other radio station in Winnipeg, when you listen to your favorite radio stations out there, the audience. It's 25-54, it's female, it's male, it's whatever. With LGBTQ plus, you're really talking to everybody. So it's sometimes a bit challenging to come up with promotions because you kind of want to speak to everybody, and that's what we're doing, and we're doing a really good job at it. But it's difficult because we don't want to leave anybody out. But we're having a lot of fun, and we always love it whenever people give us comments, and you can do that online at ProudofBing.com. So.
How are you finding your advertisers? Where do they come from? All over the place now, or is it specific to the community?
It's everybody. It's everybody. And that's the biggest question we get. We'll get clients that, want to advertise to the community, and they think they have to do something special. They have to say something in their commercial. No, just be on the radio station. Yeah. And you're already supporting the community. And I advise all businesses, even in Winnipeg, doing the smallest little thing to support the gay community there will go a long ways to increase your business. So just by putting a rainbow flag in your window, boom, people are going to want to shop there. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do it where it's offensive or, it's going to turn off other people. Because, at the end of the day, it's, not everybody's comfortable with that. I get it. But you can do things, businesses can do things to welcome the community, embrace it. I mean, I think we've come a long way. Winnipeg's still some ways to go, I know, and Toronto a little bit too. But at the end of the day, love who you're going to love. Who cares? And if it's not bothering you, I saw Wanda Sykes in concert, and Wanda Sykes is so funny. And, she's gay, and she goes, I don't know why straight people are all offended by what gay people are doing. Like, it don't matter. It don't bother you. Why does it, that's my whole thing. I always think that was so funny. That's the one thing I remember from that concert.
Yeah. I can tell you as a straight guy, it doesn't bother me at all. At all. I don't get offended by people, same sex, holding hands or talking about it or anything. So I'm not really sure where this group of people exists that are overly offended by it. I don't know if it's real.
You're taught that too, Rick. Remember, you're taught that because when you come out of the womb, any child, they don't see color, they don't see, they don't see race, they don't see sexuality, they don't see anything. They're so accepting. And here's a really good example. Last week I interviewed, I'm obsessed with reality TV, and I'm watching 90 Day Fiance. I don't know if you guys watch 90 Day Fiance, but there's this couple on there. Armando and Kenneth, two gay guys, one guy from Florida, another guy from Mexico. And they were just friends and everything. And I didn't even know really the story until I talked to them. And Armando, who lives in Mexico, has a child. He was married. Lost his wife tragically. And he realized that, he was gay. And he has a beautiful daughter named Hannah. And their story was so amazing. So when Armando had explained to his daughter that, hey, this is Kenneth, this is going to be my partner, we're going to be moving in together, she was just like, cool.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I actually was really emotional watching it. There's a perfect example of a child that has not been tainted, that has not been taught any kind of race, not any negative vibes. She was just like, okay, so when are we moving? Like it was just so cool. I encourage everybody to look at that and show your children that, because and parents can take a big learning lesson from that, because it's tough being a parent. I mean, all the stuff that we have to deal with. I mean, thank God we didn't have to deal with social media right when we were growing up.
Yeah.
That was the takeaway from that, is just that you are literally taught that, because children have to learn that. You don't just don't know. You just don't know that.
Can we talk to the audience quick?
Sure.
Yeah. So we got some audience engagement here. We want to know, first of all, say hello, who's watching this, and if you're watching the replay, let us know. And I'd actually like to know what radio station people listen to. Like for me, today when I was thinking about this podcast, I normally play something on my phone, but I didn't have enough. I was like, I don't want to fiddle around and try and find something. So I'll listen to the radio when I'm driving here, and I just kind of flip back and forth between interesting topics. Like today they were talking about Alex Trebek. So he died recently, right?
Yep.
And he wrote a book, and they're talking about how The Weeknd got snuffed at the Grammys. And they're talking about, talk about a guy who got snuffed. So Alex Trebek wrote a book, and the guy who did the voiceover for the Audible book or whatever got a Grammy nomination, but Alex didn't. So that, like that actually kind of stuff intrigues me. So I'll flop between an oldies 90s song and then whatever kind of interesting topic is out there. And I find that guys on the radio aren't really talking about COVID right now. Like, do you find that? Like,
is it
too negative maybe? Or is it...
I think we're the only radio station in Toronto that doesn't talk about COVID. I never talk about COVID.
Really?
We don't talk about social media because I want 103.9 Proud FM to be the station that people are going to go to escape from.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all aware of and the numbers here in Toronto are terrible. So I never talk about it. I mean, if there's certain things that are shut down, like the new stuff like that, we'll give that a quick mention. We'll post it on our website and on social media. But every day, I'm not saying 1,400 more cases today. I'm not doing that. But our other radio stations, that's not who we are, and people are not coming to our station to hear that information. People are coming to hear awesome music, fun promotions, contests, gossips, and shade.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about that weekend snub. I've heard about it. It's trending like crazy, and everybody's talking about it, but I don't necessarily know the details. Jarrett, what's going on?
I didn't talk about it on the air yesterday because I was kind of wrestling whether I should. I just think that we can get a life. I don't know. I couldn't be bothered. If I was super successful, I've never met The Weeknd. He, my buddy here that's on our sister station, he's interviewed him and been with him and partied with him at his house and stuff like that. He's very shy. He's very socially awkward too. He's a super talented guy. But just it is what it is. The problem, and I mean, this is the problem, and I'm going to say it for what it is. It's racism. That's the bottom line. I'm going to call it the way I see it. And this is my personal opinion.
In what way?
Keep it close to yourself.
Yeah.
So what happened? I don't think any of us really know what happened.
She was up for the same awards. She's been nominated a ton of times, and she never hasn't won either. But I don't know if I would be personally, if I wasn't nominated. I'm just one of those people that, you go into this business and it's competitive. If you win, great. If you don't be a poor loser, and don't be like, saying I should have got this. Well, I could have, would have, should have. Like, I just wouldn't. To me, it's kind of awkward now. And then he's calling blatant racism. And I agree with him. I just wouldn't be probably talking about that publicly. I'd just keep that to myself.
Right.
You either go hard with it, like, and there's a lot of times where I want to post stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I just don't have the bandwidth to deal with the repercussions that are going to happen on my social media feed, and it's not where I want to direct my energy.
RJ, I want to say, sorry to interrupt. I want to say this is a white man talking. So if I was black, I would probably have a different perspective. So I just think, removing race altogether, if you don't win, just don't say anything. I mean, I just wouldn't say anything, and I would probably have members of my team say, something like that. I don't know if I would have personally come out and say it.
Hey, it made Kanye famous.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. But it is what it is. I mean, I agree with everything The Weeknd's said. I just don't know if I would have said that. I don't know. But I'll mention it on the air today just because everybody's talking about it. But it's just very weird that, Black people are just not recognized, the way they should, because the hottest artists are black people. I don't get it. I mean, we play them all on Proud FM.
Yeah.
So, but okay, so this is for the Grammys, right? Or what was this
This is
for?
Grammys.
But they just did the music awards or something like that. Was that last week?
Yeah, last Sunday was the AMAs.
All I saw was the weekend going up there. So what's the difference between the two? Like, and I recognize the weekend because he had he's either getting a nose job or something, but he came out all bandaged up. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, he's wearing that. That's to promote no drinking and driving. That's why he's wearing.
Okay. I was like, this guy got a nose job or something recently.
Yeah, a lot of people are, and I don't think it's been properly promoted. And I mean, I get what he's doing; it's great, but people don't really still understand what he's doing.
No, I had no idea.
So can you explain it?
Gets people talking. So
yeah. Can you explain it? What is it?
So he wins an award, right? This is the music awards. He comes out and he's got a bandage, like his nose. He's got like bruised eyes and this and that. Looks like he basically got into a car accident. I guess now it makes sense, but to me it looked like he got like he's transitioning into a nose job.
Okay.
And now it makes sense. I guess he's doing something for Don't Drink and Drive.
Oh.
Yeah. But I saw him like nonstop winning. So what's the difference between the two awards? Like, what's the difference between a Grammy and a music award?
I think the Grammy is a a lot more respected. I think that's what it is. So I'm going to talk about it on the air. So.
Hey, Jared, before we go any further, Jared, I want to do your intro so people actually get a little context as to who you are and why we're talking here. So our guest today hails from Winnipeg, but now lives in Toronto and has been there for over a decade. When he was in Winnipeg, he worked at both Hot 103 and CJOB 68. He also did live remotes from different nightclubs 5 days a week, including the Tijuana Yacht Club and the world-famous Palomino Club, which is where we met. Also, he owned the Bada Bing bus. You remember the Bada Bing bus? Everybody knows that. And a gift shop out in the Charleswood area. That last part just seems to not fit right, but he has an extreme love for travel, and his favorite spots include LA, Las Vegas, and Mexico, with his dream vacation being Bora Bora. These days, with travel restrictions in place, he chooses to spend his time binging reality TV shows with his dog while he sips on Ciroc vodka and dancing in front of the mirror while listening to Bruno Mars. I made that last part up. Everyone, let's welcome Jared Serrata. I know you didn't tell me you're dancing in front of the mirror, but I figured you might. You just wouldn't admit it. That's
the biggest question I get. When you work in radio, everybody always asks you, who's the coolest person you've met and the best concert you've ever seen? And it's so hard to answer that question because I've been in this business for so long and I've met so many awesome people, and I like different people for different reasons. So yeah. Bruno Mars was one of my. When he was on tour, I could have went to that concert every single night. It was a total party. So, and I was like 8th row too. It was pretty good. So give us an example. Give us somebody that you've a high-end celebrity, an ice celebrity that you've mingled with, had a conversation with. Oh my gosh. This is I just did I just spoke to Algonquin College, and all the kids were asking that too. I like different people for different reasons. So I'll tell you some funny stories in Winnipeg.
Sure.
Christina Aguilera, this is really dating me. When she first came out, her song "Genie in a Bottle," we were there at the radio station. This was Hot 103 at the time, which is Virgin now, and we were supposed to take a bunch of winners backstage, and I was the host there at the time, and we went backstage, and she didn't know we were coming. So we were standing there with Global News, CBC, CTV, all my winners from the radio station. There was like 15 people. And Christina Aguilera didn't know that we were coming. She didn't know she was supposed to be doing a meet and greet with all these people. And she refused to come and meet with us.
Okay.
So I was just like, to the record label, listen, you got to make this happen right now. Make this happen. Don't embarrass me. Like, you got to make this happen because, somebody just dropped the ball. Looking back, that was fairly new. That was my time in radio. It was like the first few years. Looking back, that would never happen right now because the first thing is, I think we talked about this on the phone, is that, and I don't know how much RJ knows about this, but every celebrity, every music artist, when they go on tour for a concert, they always have a sound check. It doesn't matter who you are. The biggest names, they usually do a sound check. And the bigger the artist is, it's really short. Sometimes it's 10, 15 minutes. But they just want to come and take a look at the venue. They're familiar with the stage, but they want to check the sound and little things. They are never camera ready. Okay, so if it's a TV station, and especially it's a female artist. Some guys are pretty bad too, though. They don't want to obviously be on TV because they have no hair and makeup. They're not ready to go. They just came in there. Well, they forgot to tell her at the time. So nevertheless, Christina Aguilera did come out, and she did come meet everybody, but she came out and she did pictures with everybody, but she was up there for, okay, there was probably 35 people there in total. I would say she went through the 35 people in 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Stood there with a picture, snap, she went, snap, and just boom, and out the door she went. And very rude too, very rude. But, I had explained the backstory and everybody was kind of understanding it. But at the end of the day, what I learned from that is like, she's a celebrity. She was just starting out. That was a good impression. I really liked her, so that was kind of like, a downer. But some great people I've met. I've met Oprah. I interviewed Joan Rivers. She was a blast. I mean, Joan Rivers gave all her jewelry that she was wearing and gave it to me to give to my mom, which was
really,
yeah, that was pretty funny. And then there's other people that I've interviewed that you might not know. Like Jonas Brothers were kind of weird. They were here at the station a couple years ago. They were awkward. Nick Jonas is awkward.
What do you mean?
But nice guy, but very awkward.
Give me an example. What made him awkward? What do you mean?
Kind of joking around with them, and they just were kind of like, I don't know if they were just having, some of these guys have bad days. I don't understand a bad day, Rick. I mean, I really don't. Now, I'm no celebrity by any means, but I think that once you step out the door and they're saying, hey, so-and-so, you have to do this, you have this interview today, you have this to do, suck it up, put on a pretty face, be nice to everybody. And even if you have to be fake, just do it, be nice. Don't come and be all rude and douchebaggy like. Yeah. So I don't get that whole thing. I really, to this day, I still don't get it. So they just came here. They didn't really have an entourage. They came here with one security guy and the record label. They were just very short. They were just like awkward. Nick was the one that stood out the most, being kind of awkward. The other guys were okay. But yeah, it wasn't cool. Calvin Harris wasn't nice at all. He did not want to be here at all.
Really?
But I think the most recently, the one I had probably the most fun is I just interviewed Carson Kressley from RuPaul's Drag Race. Mm-hmm. He was a blast. Because when I phoned him, his publicist says, here, Jared, give him a call. He wants to just run through a couple of things, what you want to talk about. When I called him, he was shopping at Costco. So that was pretty funny. So I was asking what he was buying at Costco. And I go, what do people say when they see you at Costco? He's like, they always say to me, oh, you look so much better in person. I said, I get that too. Yeah, so it's pretty funny. But yeah, a lot of different people. And the two guys from 90 Day Fiancé too, Kenneth and Armando. I just did an interview with them last week. You'll hear that next week on the show. Yeah. They were pretty cool. So it's different people for different reasons. So. Right.
You guys, I asked you, RJ, to watch last night. Jared, did you watch Queer Eye? Have you watched any of those episodes?
I've seen the episode, so I maybe remember. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
You haven't watched any? This is my wife and I's favorite show. We've gone through five.
The new one, right?
Well, we've gone through 5 seasons in 7 days, so I think we've seen them all. There's even ones with them in Japan.
Okay, no, I haven't seen it. We're trying to get Cuomo. Is that how you say his name? We're trying to get him on the show right now.
Oh yeah. Well, so the premise of the show is this: it's 5 gay guys. They're introduced. So somebody sponsors. So let's say I sponsored you, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to send in a bio, and basically, I mean, it wouldn't be somebody like you, but somebody who's maybe failing in life a little bit, right? Doesn't look really well. They live kind of trashy. And these 5 guys get sent in, and they're all specialized in something else. So you have the one guy, Cuomo, I think his name is sort of like the therapist, and he's all about culture. So he's going to keep you up to date on what's kind of cool and what's happening, what's trending. And then you have the guy who's into food, the guy who's into fashion, the one who's into decor, and then you have the one who's into hair and skin. And like keeping yourself appearance up to date. Mm-hmm. So they take these people, they spend 1 week with them, and they completely turn their lives around. And last night's episode was this guy, and Jerry, you're going to find this funny. It was a giant white dude from Georgia who is into NASCAR. All right? So you can already picture the type of person this was. And of course, the second that they walk into his house, the first thing they see is a Trump hat. Right? So, of course, the black guy, the gay guy, he's already annoyed. And prior to that, and he's also a cop, okay? And prior to that, the way that they set up the intro of the show was that they're always driving when they do the preface of the show. They get pulled over by the police. Black guy's driving. Cop comes up, and he's just, like, stern. And he's like, license registration. And, of course, the guy's like, I don't have license registration. He's like, 1 sec. Goes back, comes out, and the whole time they're showing his face, and he's very agitated and scared, and he's already in the narrative in the background, or the narration in the background is like, I've dealt with people like this before. I know it's about to happen to me. And the cop comes back and says, out of the vehicle, please. And right away, he's, you can just see he thinks he's going to get thrown down to the ground. And so standing there and the look on his face. Now, of course, there's cameras out there, so I don't know if this is necessarily legit or if it's set up, but either way, it looked very real. And the cop finally says, just so you know, I'm the one that nominated Joe. And then everybody laughs, and that was how they introduced it, right? So it was a great episode. But anyway, so you go into this guy's house, and he's like a typical NASCAR fan. He lives in the basement. His wife lives in the upstairs. The wife has a nice, pretty house. He lives in the basement like a troll, right? He's got blacked out windows with garbage bags, and he wears these ridiculous outfits, and he's overweight by 150 pounds. He's got the worst style, and he's the goofball, right? The big goofball. Anyways, 5 days later, it was a really great show because it bridged the divide between white and black, and black versus police officers. They had a really good conversation. And always, and the reason why I watch this show is because everybody self-improves. And that's one thing around here, we're always stressing coaching. And as long as you're surrounding yourself with people that are a little bit better than you, you seem to elevate and level up, right? And after 5 days, this guy was, hugging all of the guys, and he was, joking about it. His place looked great. He looked great. He had new fashion sense. And that's what I love about the show. So the whole point of me asking you this, I thought you would have watched it for sure. And I'd encourage you to watch some of the episodes.
Sorry, I saw some episodes. I have seen. I remember there was one they did with a guy in an apartment, and they're always sometimes have gone through something too. So it's
always.
I like to deal with everything.
Yeah, it's just a real happy. You always leave the show on a positive. You probably cried a little bit, but then you're really happy. Like it's a good show. So I would highly recommend that one.
I will check it out.
Yeah. Can I talk about your Bada Bing bus?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody knows the Bada Bing almost like as much as they would know the Palomino Club or Tijuana Yacht Club.
On the Bada Bing bus, you got binged a few times.
Of course, I was on there many times doing bad things. I mean, not doing bad things. What got you into that business in the first place?
I'll be honest. I saw somebody else doing it, and I didn't think they were doing that great of a job, and I thought I could do this better. And I bought a bus. It was crazy. I literally, like that week, I went and bought a bus, and really thought it was crazy because at that time, I was, working in radio full time, a crazy life. I owned a gift store at the time. I was doing 3 club nights a week, like crazy, maybe 4 at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, but I just always thought I could do this better. And I got a really good deal on a bus, and I bought a bus, and I just slowly transformed it. And I was thinking, this is kind of cool. And I bought another bus. We got up to 4. And the next thing I know, it was a legit business. Then I had to make the decision whether I was going to leave my job. At that time, I was working at Chorus Entertainment at CJOB. At the time, which was probably the best time ever. I had the best times there, 9 years. And I walked around, I don't know if I told you this, Rick, but I walked around with my resignation letter for a month before I put it in because, of course, at CJOB, nobody quits them. They quit you.
Okay.
And it was just Garth Butchko, who was the general manager at the time, and Sherry, I forget her last name. The team was just so awesome. The executives were so nice to me, so understanding. Because when I left Hot 103, I went to CJOB, grabbed me right away. And I still remember they didn't know what to do with me. They just wanted me there to do something.
Yeah.
So then I just did it, and I was freaked out. And I still remember that day. Nobody talked to me I gave a 2 weeks notice. Nobody talked to me for almost 10 days. They literally walked by me and pretend they didn't see me. So I was like, what's up with that? And I was really hurt because I really loved the radio station. I just felt that I did everything I could possibly do there. I wasn't getting any more opportunities. I mean, they put me on the radio as the summer cruiser guy with Richard and they would thread, let's check in with Jared at Polo Park Shopping Center. And, like stuff like that. It was just like, what are you doing at Polo Park Shopping Center? It was just like, just trying to make it more. I was trying to they wanted to bring more of that, because I'm crazy and fun. I got a lot of energy. So they wanted to put that into CJOB.
Right.
And which is cool. And then that, that was done. I did that for a year, and it was just like, okay, now it's like, okay, what are we going to do with this guy?
Yeah.
So, but they kept me around, which is great. And I loved it. But I just felt, it was time to move on. And then just 2 days before my last day, Garth Butchko calls in the office and said, hey, do you have a second? I'm like, yeah. And he closed the door. I was like, oh. And he said, I want to just be honest with you. He says, I'm really upset that you're leaving. I said, I can tell you haven't talked to me in 10 days. And he said, listen, people don't quit us. And he says, but I really admire and I support what you do. And they supported my bus so much, guys, that they did the morning show, the CJOB morning show on my bus.
Nice.
That's how much they were very supportive of my business. So even though I was working, my full-time dedication, my full-time career was CJOB, but I still loved this. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to try to start this business. They fully supported. They gave me free plugs on the radio, and then CJOB was the #1 station, probably still is at that time. And they were very supportive. It's just something I need to do. And Garth said, you ever need anything, call me. And and the rest is history. So had the bus for 12 years, had a lot of fun, And then, then I sold the business because I lived in Toronto for 5 years and I was still running the business. I was going back and forth. But the biggest challenge was staff. That's always an issue. And nobody's going to run your business like you. And it's hard to run it when I'm in Toronto. So constantly having to fly there back and forth. It was too much. It was too much.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably one of the challenges you've had.
Yeah.
You created a very good team here, though.
Yep.
Yeah. You mentioned something about you felt like there was no more opportunity for you at CJOB because you're bubbly personality and they wanted to make you do fun stuff. Do you ever feel like your personality and how you are has taken away maybe more serious job titles from you? Have you ever thought about that, or does everything that you've done directly reflect your personality and you're okay with that?
I haven't really thought about that. There's certain things that I'm just not going to do. I'm not interested in doing. I have to really like it. I have to really enjoy it. I tell everybody, when you're getting in this business, when I was just speaking to this Algonquin college out here in Toronto, one of the students asked me, do you have to like the radio station you're working for? Do you have to like the music, so to speak? I'm like, yes. Because you live and breathe it. There's nothing worse than working at a radio station and promoting and listening to it every day on a format you don't really care for. Radio is radio. So no matter where you work, it's just a different music, but the whole mechanics is the same. It's like, it's like owning your gym. All the gyms run the same way. They all have basically the same equipment. It's just they have a few little different things in there. So the mechanics are basically the same. So I don't know if I don't think anybody would ever consider me for something serious. I've done some serious stuff. I can be serious if I need to be. At this stage of my life, though, I think most recently with the pandemic, hence the reason why we changed this logo and changed the whole branding of the station. It came at such a great time. Yeah. But perhaps I would love to do. We have an opportunity right now on Product FM. We're looking for a show. We're looking for somebody. So if anybody wants to apply, go to proudfm.com. We're looking for somebody to do a show on the weekend on Proud FM. And we're looking for a lifestyle show. So relationships, sex, all kinds of stuff like that. So it needs to be somewhat serious, and they already said to me, oh, Jared, you did great on that. That's not going to happen.
So do you have to be gay to work there?
No. I'd like to have be two people, and at least one person should be gay or in the community. And you could be bi, trans, at least somebody from the community. A straight person is always good. Our morning show, we have the morning show, Elvis Duran and the Proud Morning Show, which is weekdays 6 to 10 on Proud FM. And Elvis Duran is the host, and he's gay, but the rest of the cast is not. There's like 10 people. They're not gay. And they have a guy on there called Straight Nate. He's pretty funny.
So what would be the so that's interesting. Talk about that a little further. So what would be the script for this show? Two people sitting there just talking for several hours about different topics?
Yeah, we kind of be like what you guys are doing, and you'd have a topic. It definitely has to be something that talks to the community. So love to have somebody come on and talk about AIDS. I mean, it's World AIDS Day coming up on December the 1st. So talking about that. So wear red on December 1st, and talking about HIV, just talking about relationships, talking about STD, talking about PrEP. A lot of gay guys are on PrEP. They think if you're on PrEP, you're not going to catch anything. Wrong.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
So I don't really know too much about it. So, but it's a pill that you take, and a lot of gay guys, if they're promiscuous, they tend to take it. That's at least what I heard, and I don't want to offend anybody by saying that if I'm misquoting anything. So stuff like that. I think it would be really, really important. I'd love to have somebody, they could have experts on. I think it would be really cool. It'd be kind of cool to do a call-in show there's lots you can do. So we're kind of slanting to something like that, but it wouldn't be until the new year right now. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'd like to see on Proud FM. I think people really need that, but I want some fun in there too. So
Yeah, of course, of course. I think now there's enough seriousness in the world. And I think if you can bring some fun and excitement, people are going to love that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, absolutely. And everybody loves to talk about relationships. I mean, everybody loves that stuff. I love talking about that. I'm always giving advice. I'm not good at them, but I got all the answers.
Well, it's funny you say that because RJ and I shot a podcast the other day called "How to Please Your Man," and we killed it. I don't know if we necessarily gave out the greatest advice, but we gave out some advice.
Did your wife think you killed it, or you guys just thought you killed it?
We had fun, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know how it works. We got lots of traction. We had a lot of people commenting on the Facebook while we were doing it. So that's usually a good indication of whether it's whether it's working or not, right?
Well, yeah, and right now with the pandemic, it's really hard on relationships right now. If you're both working from home, I cannot imagine. And I hear this from our listeners here in Toronto, and especially in Toronto, the condos are very small, and people are both working from home. They're ready to kill each other, throw each other off the balcony. It's tough. It's really, really tough right now. So if you can get through this, you can get through anything.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, being together with somebody and you're not used to seeing them 8 hours a day, and all of a sudden they're with you 24/7. That would not work out for me.
So what recommendation would you give to people?
I'm sorry?
What recommendation would you give to people that are working from home and they're constantly around their family? Because Winnipeg is still lucky that they haven't closed the schools yet. So I couldn't imagine if you had you plus your wife plus your kids all in this, like you got to be a dad, you got to be an entrepreneur, and you got to be a husband all in the same day. Like there's just no gap. So what recommendation would you give?
Well, hats off to everybody who's doing it and does it every day. Parents, I mean, I don't have children. I have a dog. I'm a single guy, so I have a very fulfilled life. So when I come home, the last thing I want to do is be around people, and I kind of just so like I cannot imagine having somebody there 24/7 and having kids to look after and all that. So I mean, I applaud everybody who's doing a great job in the pandemic. So the advice I always give to people that are kind of going through that, especially I can only speak to Toronto because that's what I more relate to, because our lockdown is pretty serious there. We're only allowed to have one person from outside your family in your house right now. So if you have anybody over, you're only allowed to have one person. That's it.
It's the same here.
And so for those people that are working from home, I always say that, especially if you're in a condo, is and I actually heard this from a listener, this guy, Brian, and his boyfriend message. They're big listeners, big fans of my show, which I love them. They're so funny. And they said, Brian said he was going to break up with him. He couldn't take it. He was going to throw him off the balcony. He couldn't take it. And so now they kind of just made it this, luckily they're in it's a bigger condo than mine. It's a 2-level. So they have some separation there. So now they've made a rule that they don't see each other at all during the day at all. They don't speak to each other. They text each other, say, hey, how you doing? Like they would normally would if there wasn't in a pandemic, but they don't see each other at all during the day. And they also take a lunch break, so they get outside, and it's really nice here today, so a lot of people are out today. So they go and take a break, and they go exercise or go for a long walk. But they have that separation, especially if you're working at home. Not everybody can do that, but if you can do that, that's great. I think that's a big, big step in your relationship, is having that separation, so you're not seeing each other during the day. So kind of do back to the days when pre-pandemic. I think that will certainly help. But being on top of each other and constantly, I mean, my buddy's going through the same thing with his wife right now. They're both doing Zoom calls constantly. They had to move just because they're both on Zoom calls and you could hear it was interference. So they had to get a bigger place. And so it's tough. A lot of people are going through a lot of tough things. So that's my advice, is create that separation from each other. Don't see each other during the day. You're both working from home. That way, when 5 o'clock comes, 6 o'clock comes, it's like, then it feels kind of like somewhat normal.
And hopefully you're living on the main floor, because those balconies. So Jared, let me ask you this: as a single guy, how are you dating? How do you do it now?
I don't, because I don't have any time. I was working till 2:30 in the morning last night, like a total loser. But when you find something you love to do, I don't call it work. Yeah. And then I was up early this morning. I've been on 3 Zoom calls since 7:30 this morning, and then I had you guys. I had a meeting with the president here, and then with you guys. So it's just go. I don't mind it. I have a lot of it's not that important anymore, to be really honest. It's not, because I don't have the time to dedicate to somebody, and it wouldn't be fair to that person. I have my Rick, I love my dog. I'm like, dogs rule in my life. If I could have 40 dogs, I would. Like, I always think that, if I wasn't in this, truly, well, during the pandemic when this first started, I was laid off from the radio station for 3 months. And during that time, I honestly thought I wasn't going to come back to radio. I was fine with that. And I wanted to work at a rescue shelter or something to look after animals. I just want to clean poop all day and walk dogs and hug them. That's really what my calling is. I really do believe that. So, but I'm back in radio, but that pays the bills. So,
Okay. So let's say you aside. How do you think single people are dating right now? I mean, I guess virtually, but how specifically has that happened? Any idea?
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, because you can, like, especially with Zoom call, you just can go bye. It's easy to get out. But I think the virtual, like, I would be open to that. But it's just that usually by the end of the day, I haven't had a chance. And this is what my buddy says, that you don't have time for you. So how could you have time for somebody else?
Yeah.
So and whatever time I have left, it's really just for myself. Like, I cannot wait to get home, get out of these clothes, get into something comfortable, hang out with my dog, and just like veg and do nothing or watch. I'm really TV addicted. I watch so much TV. Sometimes I'm up till 3 a.m, but a lot of it's research too for the radio station, and I try to be on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I kind of like to do. So it's not really fair to have somebody in my life right now. But virtually, I'm totally down for virtually because I love that. If I don't like you, I can easily say bye.
Yeah.
So when you were laid off, what did you? That was 3 months, 90 days. What did you do with your time then?
Oh my God!
I felt like there was a period within this past year that everybody had the time. So I'm curious as to what you did to fulfill that time.
You know what? I actually cooked for the very first time. I have never used my stove in my condo. Everybody always laughed because my kitchen is so pristine, and because I don't use it. I always order in and stuff like that. So I actually made banana bread.
Nice.
Yes, I ate the whole thing. I've gained like at least 10 pounds since COVID, at least. I was just doing a lot of cooking, a lot of nothing really. Just I rearranged my condo. I had a roommate for a little while, so she had moved out, and so I never did anything with that room. So now I've made it a closet. Everywhere I've lived, I have too many clothes that I should not even tell people about. It's embarrassing. So now I've got this closet. I have somebody actually coming in on Friday this week. Hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be allowed, and just to do a couple of things. So so I kind of did that. Just kind of like purged a lot of stuff. I didn't really do too much. My dog loved it. She couldn't. She was like, "Can you go out somewhere? Go do something." Well, I was always around. So I did really nothing. Just caught up on a lot of things. I just didn't. I tried to exercise too. I was going for long walks, like sometimes 2 hours. I was kind of exploring Toronto, which was kind of cool. Yeah. And then I got a call to come back to work, and my life ended.
Do you think that?
Thanks for having my job.
Yeah. Do you think that COVID aside, so the actual disease aside, do you think this pandemic will be a benefit to us as a society as a whole? Do you think slowing us down and making us sort of appreciate the things that we have instead of always going to the next lounge, going to the next nightclub, buying more shit? Do you think that this is a good thing that's happened to us in the end?
I think we've learned a lot about each other. I mean, the world is a lot cleaner. I mean, surfaces and places are so much cleaner now. Yeah. I think we've done a lot of learning through this about each other, and I think respect too, the littlest things, because it's not everybody's taking the Corona thing serious until I think Corona is now going to be the new cancer, which is eventually you're going to know somebody. One person in your life that got the virus. And what's so scary about this virus is that it affects everybody so differently. Somebody can get it and be, asymptomatic, and somebody can get, and they're just a little sick, and then to the point that they're wearing a ventilator. So I don't understand these people that don't wear a mask. So I'm like, oh, so you'd rather wear a ventilator then? Like, I don't really get the whole analogy. And it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, just put on the damn mask. So yeah, it's, I think we've learned a lot. I think we still have a little ways to go on. It just depending on where you live. In Toronto, people have got it. I mean, still have a lot of people that don't believe it, but then I don't know how they explain all these deaths.
Yeah.
But I've learned a lot. I mean, I definitely have. I definitely conduct myself very, very differently because I'm so used to, guys, as being around people all the time.
Yeah.
Parties and hosting and stuff like that. Now, if I've tried to go shopping before we had our second lockdown, and I hadn't been to a Best Buy forever, and I was so excited to go. And I went there, and there was too many people. And I was like, I'm out of there. Like all these people standing in line. I'm not gonna stand in line with all these people. Like, forget it. So yeah.
That's the one thing I still find kind of shocking is how people still insist on going to shop. You know, most have pivoted to online shopping. I still don't understand why you don't want to go and stand in a line, regardless of wearing a mask and social distancing and cleaning the surfaces. And I get all of that, trust me. But it's almost like the need to shop takes over your sense of safety or sense of protection. You know, it's a powerful thing. You know. So anyways,
I think that, so for me, I want to go and buy these plants, right? Like I want to go and buy these plants, and I want to pick out these pots. But I don't want to just order it from like looking at it through a photo, right? Like I want to go there. I want to see how it's gonna like look in my living room. I don't want to just buy this thing and then just throw it away. And so it's hindering me from actually buying things because there's stuff that I have that I want to return. I'm like, how do I even return this thing, right? So it's like I ordered it, I spent $100, and I need new shoes. Brought them in here, they don't fit right. What do I do now? You know what I mean? So I feel like there is still a need for people to go places because I don't want things like that where I get stuck with $100 pair of shoes because I don't know how to return it.
I can tell you this is I've been Amazon shopping quite a bit, and the return policy is super simple.
Amazon's good.
Super simple, man. They just take it back. Yeah. It was a carpet too, and because you know when you get a rolled up rug, it's rolled up really nice. They've got like end socks on it. I just put 2 zip ties on this thing and tape down a packing slip that they send you. It was gone.
But here would be the nice thing.
And credit my account.
You still got to go and drop that off somewhere.
Well, not my condo. I got a mailbox right inside my condo.
Yeah, but you know, for me, I got to go wherever it needs to go. So it'd be nice if now they've got the delivery. You just put the package outside. They come and pick it up. They give you a little slip.
Dude, I think they might even do that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's going to be the next.
I'm not sure. Hey, Jarrett, we're at our 45-minute mark. I just want to say thanks for coming on to the show. He was awesome. You gave us a lot of good information. And I 100% am going to download your app because I want to hear your sexy voice moving forward. So we're going to dance it out, Jarrett. Shake your neck. And Jarrett, I'll give you a call. We'll keep in touch, all right?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Nice to meet you, RJ. See you later.
See you later. Bye.